What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brutal Planet Comics. I'm your host, Dre the Brute Daniels, and welcome to an episode of the Indie Corner, where I sit down with everybody from the independence community, writers, artists, directors, producers. Doesn't matter if you're in the game, I want to talk to you. So we got a special guest coming all the way from Texas. He is the writer and creator of Reactive Weaponized Armor. Heck of a name, heck of a comic. Give it up, everybody, for Will G.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's going on, everybody?
What is going on, my friend? How are you doing?
We're doing good over here. We're doing good. Enjoying the weather, you know.
Yes, you're enjoying that sweet Texas weather. We here on the East Coast don't get such luxuries.
Yeah, for the time being, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I want to thank you for making the time to come on the show and everything. So it's, first of all, big thanks and big ups to you. So before we get into all the things that you've created and all the, I can't wait to talk about Reactive Weaponized Armor. Good Lord. First, let's talk about who you are, where you come from. How do we end up getting here?
Well, first off, my name's Will G. Been out here in Texas, like born and raised. Around like early elementary, I'd say, is when I started having like inspirations from comics, from movies that I saw. Like I remember I even started making little comics, like, you know, from the stuff that I saw or played, you know. Like I remember I saw a TV commercial of the first Duke Nukem game.
Oh, wow.
And I thought it was so cool, like, especially when he, you know, kicks that dude's head over the field goal and stuff like that, you know. And so I take this and I start drawing this in school, and so it causes concerns, you know. But I'm like, no, it's a video game. It's a video game.
There's gonna be some red flags.
Yeah, and I even I did one later. It was like a little comic because I was pretty amazed by that Godzilla movie in '98.
Okay.
And I was like, but I can't draw dinosaurs. So I was like, I knew a kid that could draw dinosaurs. So I was like, Kurt Wolf, if you're watching this, shout out, man. He was like my first artist, I swear. Like he would draw the dinosaurs and I draw everything else kind of stuff or whatever. And it was kind of cool, you know. But I didn't really realize where all that skill set was like until later on. Like, you know, like in my 20s, I realized, you know, I'm not really sure if like what I'm doing is like what I'm really cut out for, you know, because I was trying to get into films and stuff like that.
Okay.
Get in as a production assistant and stuff. Like I got in for one little independent project. It just didn't take off, but it was cool to be a part of it, and I got paid for it. And but yeah, it was like around that time I realized, like, you know, maybe I should give the comics thing another try. Like I feel sometimes like with what you're good at or what you were kind of made for in life, like maybe you were doing it earlier, like you just didn't realize it, you know. Like, and for me, I was like, dang, I think maybe I should give the whole comics thing a try. And so I got in contact with an artist. He was out there in Canada. His name is Don Dimmonlig. He's exceptional artist, really did good work. We got into the cover a little bit for the issue 1 of RWA, and he had to duck out, but then I got hooked up with my current artist. He linked me up with Frost Yamzon. He hooked me up with him, and we've been just at it, pumping him out. Like I've been had him on issue 1 at first, and then in between we would do like a little poster project and stuff like that, and, you know, just really break it out. But then over time, like we really clicked and just really were able to communicate well, you know, without button heads and stuff like that, you know. And with my notes, I think it really gave him a good enough image, you know, for what, you know, I wanted to do with panels and stuff, because I was good at writing, you know, like a script writer is what I was more at. And so I was like, well, let me just write him a script, you know. Like I don't know how to write, say, like a comic format script, but I can write a movie script. And so so I was just like, well, let me just write it like a movie, and then I do like just every paragraph you can consider like a panel or something like that. And so, yeah, I just did it like that, and we ironed it out and stuff like that. And it took a little bit of trial and error with some things. But yeah, like with issue 1, we pumped it out like around a year, because like Frost, he does everything. Like he does the artwork, the panel work, the lettering, sound effects, all that good stuff.
All in one. I like that.
One person army, straight up. Like, and then that's the thing, like, that's what I was always kind of wondering. Like, I always would see on a given comic book, you see like a whole team of people, whole crew. Like, and I'm just like, well, dang, dude, I ain't got all the resources for that.
Exactly.
But I do have friends like who are writers or whatever and stuff. And so I was like, well, I have one friend, Esteban Castillo. I hit him up, and he was down to be an editor for me. And so I was like, hey, yeah, let's just do it like that. I mean, we're both writers here, and so like we just feed off of each other all the time anyways, and so it's not much different. And you're just kind of critiquing, what I do. It's not like I'm a masterful big time writer just yet, but I'm pretty solid. and so
good.
I like to show it around to others, just like, hey, what do you think? Could this be tightened up, or could this be done away with? And
in that regard, when you were talking about when you had your writing your comics as a screenplay, I do the exact same thing. So I'm with you on that. Like when I used to write years ago, I felt that the way panels were written were a little bit too simplistic. That was just me. I felt that it opened up a little too much for interpretation.
Right.
But if you're writing a screenplay, you're writing stage directions, you're writing what direction someone's pointing at, what degrees, angles, and that's the same way I write my panels.
Right.
So
it's a little more technical, right?
Yes. So I'm with you 110% when it comes to that. And like you, I am also a very lucky man to have an all-in-one artist, Federico Corsini. Shout outs to him.
Cool.
And he's an artist, colorist, letterer. So like, and like you said, like I don't have the resources to. Hey, I got to get a separate colorist, a separate writer. I mean, assuming like a separate editor, or a separate, all the other stuff. I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
Shout outs to everybody that can actually pull that off. Shout outs. Maybe I got a trust fund that y'all jumping into or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, and I agree, man. Yeah, like he's a real great talent and stuff like that. So he's definitely a great find for sure. And but yeah, like we're trying to get into like where we're at right now. Like we've been just like on phase 3. Like we do it in 3 phases is what we do. Like I was telling him, like if we break it down, really is like the core of it, just breaking down what all we need to do and what it takes to get there. So I was like, well, maybe if we can like take, say, 3 runs at a given issue, like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and 30 pages, sure, it might get a little repetitive, monotonous, but it's me personally, I enjoy that process, like me, like as soon as I get like some progress from him, I'm already away chipping at notes and stuff like that, what I can critique and stuff. But then most of the time I sit on it, just be like, okay, well, good idea, but let's see maybe if I come up with something better, down the line or something like that.
Exactly. It's always an improvement. It's always like writing is always transformative. Like right when you think it's done, it's like oh wait, no, this detail, this minute thing, I must redo it,
Exactly. And that's like the things like that I try to minimize as best as I can. I'm just like, if I'm gonna have those feelings, like it's like get it all out by phase 2 or phase 3. To me is like, I tell my editors, even phase 3, it's like by that time hold your peace. Like from then we're just doing like dialogue, some other little minor details, not drastic changes at that point.
Yes,
unless it's absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary.
Exactly. And I hate drastic changes. Because of the vision that you already had in your head, you thought it was ready. It's kind of like trying to put a cake back in the oven after it's been baked.
Yeah.
It's like, should I do it or do I make a new cake? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like I'll tell you what's been helping me is like I've just been thinking of it more like a sandcastle. You know what I mean? And like my idea is like I'm dumping all the sand out. Just dump all the sand out by phase 1, right? And by phase 1, you can kind of tell like where things are gonna go for some things. Like panel 1, like certain structure with the panels and stuff is what I focus on in phase 1. And it's like, we don't like the structure, we'll change it then. Like to change it later, like that's big changes and stuff, and a lot of like going back, and that just holds things up. So Yeah, like where we're at now with issue 3, like we're on phase 3. We're about to get into phase 3 right now. I had Frost on a poster project because I have movie scripts as well, like that I wrote throughout my time in college and stuff like that. And I just never did anything with them. And I was like, man, like breaking into like the movies in Hollywood just seems like a very clicky kind of thing. Like you got to get it quick before you're in, you know. And me, I'm just not that. Like I'm not in your clique. I do my own thing. You either come with or not. It's cool, you know. Either way. But so, sorry, hold on. Getting little notifications.
It's all good.
Yeah, you're good. And so, what was I going at?
Hollywood clicks.
Hollywood
not
clicks.
Into that. Had your own script.
Yeah. What I did was basically I figured like with the next issue that we're working on, issue 4, I was going to have these posters like included in there because I was like, hey, I still want them to be made a movie. I think they could make for a solid movie. And so I was like, well, let me kind of do this little meta thing. Let me just make posters for them like they were a real movie. And then, just have like in a panel, like in the next issue, like, oh, hey, like these movie posters, like maybe one of the characters comments like, I'd want to see something like that, something like that. And like maybe it'll put in somebody's head, if they're reading it, like, hey, I think I want to make this movie.
Hey, yeah, plant those seeds. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Shoot, ain't nothing wrong with that. That's awesome, bro. I think you should definitely dive into that at some point in the future.
Oh, for real.
Like, I mean, if they're written, why the devil not? You know what I mean? Just go for it. Let's go for it. But that's amazing. That's amazing. Oh, yeah. And your journey is really something. I really appreciate you sharing all that with me. So let's get into a bit of your comic book origins a bit. So how did you end up, like, pretty much deciding you wanted to be in the comic industry? Like, what are the steps you took to end up to really get into the game?
Well, really, it was just seeing, like, in the entertainment realm altogether, like, things are just not coming in with a master plan, by and large. Like, I was big time disappointed with the latest Star Wars trilogy because I was like, man, you admitted you had no plan. We knew you had no plan. Like, you know what I mean? And this is a trilogy of not just a franchise, but this is the OG franchise, dude. The OG franchise. This started everything with like toys and all that kind of merch and stuff.
You just mentioning that just shortened my life expectancy. I hated those movies so much. Oh God. I'm sorry. Please continue. Please.
Have your moment. It's good.
Oh God. Just please continue, please.
Yeah, and that was my thing because I was like, I mean, not only did you not have it with the master plan, but you frankly wasted your OG cast. You had the OG cast. This was the last time they were going to come together, and this is how we go about it. And I was like, bro, like I have to shoot my shot. And so it was that, and amongst of other things going on in film and gaming and stuff, I was like, you know what? If these are able to shoot their shots, I'm definitely going to shoot my shot. Whether I make it big or not, who cares? I'm just more out to like with me right now, like with RWA in particular, I'm just out to finish it. Like I have 3 story arcs in mind, like 13 issues apiece.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yo, that's hardcore.
And not to say like I have it all planned out. It's all basically just outlined. It's just like I know where I'm going, and then like maybe the way we get there changes here and there a little bit.
Gotcha.
But we're going to the same place. And
Gotcha.
so, yeah. And so like with where we're starting in this, like with what you read, that's like arc 2. Like I'm not starting with arc 1 because I kind of felt like, and me and Esteban, we talked about it in length, like basically, a lot of people start off with like the origins of things, and all that. Cool. And I forget which author it was that said, I want to say it was Vonnegut, maybe. But it was basically starting in the beginning is boring. Start like right in the middle of things, in medias res, right? And that's what I'm about. Like with my stories, I like just throwing people in, but I know like when you throw people in, you don't want to throw them into something they'll feel lost in. And so it's got to be a little, not necessarily palatable, but chewable.
Yes.
You know, like any fine steak. You know what I mean? Like you got to just make it, and so with that in mind, it's just like, well, let me just kind of plan it out a little bit, like, okay, issue 1. Then it just all started coming to me with like the titles and stuff like that. And like, and then before that, it was big time, like with the characters. That's how I started. Like at first I was like, the core idea of RWA was like, well, I like Power Rangers coming up. I always wanted to see them in a more mature setting because like growing up, I got into animes a lot. Like I'm a big time Toonami kid. Big time.
All right.
I'm I dropped names of shows to people like they watch Toonami, but they don't know what I'm talking about. I was like, did you watch Toonami though? Because like I kept up with it religiously, I guess. Because like I watched Blue Submarine #6. Like that was an influential one to me because it was just like pretty dark, honestly. It got real intense and nightmarish in some ways, but it was cool because I was like,
you messed with that like 2:30 a.m. 2:30 a.m. Toonami.
Yeah, but nah, I swear, like this was like in middle school during the day, like after school, I was watching this. Like I remember it, and it was it was crazy because I was like, this is like a brutal version of like a brutal version of the Island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh,
and I was like, well, dang, so there could be brutal versions of other things. So I was like, maybe, and I was like thinking, whoa, what if there was like a more crazy version of Power Rangers? Not necessarily like that, but just where you tackle those kind of themes, you get into like more crazy action and stuff. Like, because later in life, like I got influenced big time by that movie, The Raid. Have you ever seen that one? Oh, yes,
absolutely. Absolutely. Dude, love the franchise. Very good.
Put it on a pedestal on that one, man. Like, to me, that is like what action movies should be right now. Because I always got frustrated with films that would do quick cuts and stuff, like these big actors and stuff who can't throw a punch. So of course they quick cut the hell out of it, edit it, chop it up, and I'm just you can't really see nothing, and I just never was down with that.
Shaky
the way
cam.
They did it. Right. And that's what frustrates me with the Bourne movies. Like they're not bad, like fight scenes. They're pretty cool ideas and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, dude, you're starting to get a little nauseous, just watching it,
I'm sitting there like...
I'm like, it's like you're trying too hard for the realism or something like that. Yes. I don't know. I just felt like, and it doesn't have to be that shaky just to go for realism. Like, you can still have like those cinematic shots and clean and stuff like that and still get what you want out of it in that regard. And that's what I liked about it because... they had a pretty solid story. I'm not gonna say it had the best, but it's solid, simple, and the action, they totally brought it. And that's what I was like kind of amalgamating with RWA, because I was like, let's do something brutal, but not like where it's total rip off and stuff. It was just more like, what if Zordon came to Earth, didn't have a good time, it went bad, and just had to go from there.
Exactly.
And I was like, well.
So Will, since you touched on it, let's talk about it just a touch here. RWA, Reactive Weaponized Armor. As you mentioned before, I checked out your issues. I really like them. I love the grits. I love the grime. I love the action sequences. They were tremendous. But I did have a question, and you touched on how you came up with the idea, looking at some Power Rangers, looking at some inspiration from anime and things like that. And what you mentioned earlier, maybe a couple minutes ago, about dropping your audience right in the middle of it. That is exactly the direction that I felt it was going in.
Mm-hmm.
Like even on opening panel, I'm not going to spoil too much and everything, but like right when your opening panels, when I just see like this white light just dropping down, I'm like, my first thing, like, what the devil is happening? What's going on? And then I'm seeing like people under attack, and then I'm seeing people with fantastic abilities, and I'm like, the first thing in my mind as a reader was like, yo, cool explosions, yo, cool fight scenes, really cool design looking characters. But then the writer in me was like, how the heck did we get here? yeah. I'm like, yo, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, but did I miss a page or something? I'm like, but then I sat there and I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, are we doing middle, beginning, end? Like, is that? And when I sat there and I processed it for a little bit, I'm like, okay, I think I see what's going on here, because it reminded me of The Witcher. The Witcher. Matter of fact, I was just having this conversation with another person I had on the show. Me, I was never a fan of The Witcher. I was never a fan of the games. I played it before, but I was never like Witcher, yay. So
same. Yeah.
So I came in pretty much with a blank slate. And when it kind of just dropped me in the middle of things, I'm like, okay, he's cool, he's awesome. I like seeing monsters get slain and beautiful women being swept off their feet. Like, but at the same time, what the heck is going on? But of course, it's like a pulp style. You jump to the beginning, you jump to the end, and there's different perspectives here and there, like that, which is a very unique style, but not my personal favorite kind of style. But I can see how it's easy to draw in an audience that way. It's easy to draw in an audience if the first thing they see is kaboom, blam, crazy characters doing crazy things, people being saved and or murdered. People are now, not to say that they're invested, but their attention has been grabbed. Their attention has been grabbed by what's being presented. And that's the exact same vibe I got from RWA. That's the exact same vibe I got from. I'm like, yo, I may not thoroughly understand how the world building works at this point, but I am being so thoroughly entertained that I can't wait to see how it's being explained to me. And man. Pretty much the vibe I got. Like, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but that's the vibe I got.
You got me pretty pegged, actually. I was ready to stop you at some point too. I was like, nah, he's gonna mess up. You got me pretty pegged. That's because and it was actually Esteban's suggestion that we could do it like that, because I was like, the origin stuff was all right, but it, like, to your point, it wasn't attention grabbing as much. It was more of a slow burn, and I'm not against slow burns, Riley. But I figured too, like, where we're at, like right now, like, I'm not no big timer and stuff like that, and so I think at this point, it's about the attention grabbing, like, hey, this is what we got, an up and comer and stuff like that. And I big time, like, I was more influenced by mangas than I was with American comics, because, like, quite frankly, where I find American comics right now, like, the cover art doesn't grab me by and large. What I mostly get grabbed by is crossovers. I'm a big time, like, I love crossovers.
Oh, like, my God, Will.
My two favorites, and they're Batman ones. You probably guessed.
Okay.
Alien and Predator.
Oh my God, yo.
Those are my best ones.
Yo, Will. Okay, two things. I had an interview with another creator who said the exact opposite. How much they disliked crossovers. And the reasoning was solid. The reasoning was solid as far as like you're on a particular direction, and then an event can either erase a direction that you're reading, or might be correcting it. Like if you look at like Crisis on Infinite Earths or stuff like that now erase whatever storyline you may have been enjoying. So the joint was valid, 100%.
Yeah,
I disagreed, but the point was valid.
Yeah.
Second thing, those two crossovers. I made a video last year on why crossovers are so important, and in my top was Batman vs. Alien and Batman vs. Predator. That is insane,
dude. No, and it was cool, because it's like, I always liked Batman. Like, that was one of my early words, was Batman. Like, I'm sure it was mom and dad or something at some point, but but I was big time into it and stuff, and to see, and it kind of filled what I was after ultimately, because I didn't go for like Spider-Mans, I didn't go for Daredevils, I went for Punisher, I went for just the more brutal looking ones, more badass, because I was big time also into Todd McFarlane's stuff, the Spawn series, and it's what I take too from Todd McFarlane's example is, like, he was always about, like, do something that's cool, make what's cool, and I'm like, yeah, I agree, like, let's make something cool, also give us some solid writing too, like let's, and I think it's possible, you know what I mean, to find the balance of it there, and so like with RWA, like that's what I'm after, like, because I liked mangas, I liked how the panels are very dynamic and stuff, and like right now I'm reading Alita Battle Angel, or I should say Battle Angel Alita.
Yeah.
But great manga, love that manga. Like if anything, I was like, man, the film definitely was pretty close, but it's just what I felt what it was victim of was it was trying to cram too much into one thing.
Of course.
Because with the motorball stuff, like it was cool, but it was like, man, that's a whole nother book, man. Like,
as far as they're concerned, they had one movie.
right.
Put it all in there.
Yeah, and I see why some ways like they did it that way, because it's like it might be your one shot to get a movie made of it and stuff, and you gotta get the money in for it, of course, and stuff. And it's a big time CGI thing, so like it's an expensive movie to make up for. And I think too, the one thing that they probably shouldn't have done was mix the OVA into it as well. I was like, just stick to the manga. The OVA, like you had that whole other character with Jennifer Connelly, like she's not even in the mangas.
Yeah.
And
see, I didn't follow the entire series. Like I have the first 2 issues of the original in my collection. I have the first 2 original, but I never followed the entire arc. So when Jennifer Connelly's character showed up, I'm like, maybe I missed something because I never finished the whole thing. But she felt out of place. She felt out of place for me, and that's from a position of ignorance. It felt out of place for me. And I've heard a lot of people that are really into the franchise is like, hey, nah, they messed up. I'm like, oh, all right.
I wouldn't say they messed up big time. It was more like, because I don't think a lot of like, say, Hollywood studios have a lot of faith in like mangas and stuff like that to sell to the mass audience, like I think like what you have to balance as far as like any material you write, like you can write whatever you want, of course, but like I feel like to really make it marketable, you got to strike a balance of like business and art, like straight 50-50, and so it's like, go willy-nilly with your art, but you got to sometimes be reined in. That's why I like, with my editors and stuff, like they'll rein me in. If I'm going too far on one thing, or if it's like, it's not going to hit like you think it's going to hit. So, and I strive like to not have any ego about it, like if they're going to come at me with something valid, it's why get mad? Like it's to the benefit of, the works, and that's frankly like what I care about more is just like, like let's just make this the best that it can be. It doesn't have to be a perfect Academy Award winner sweeper, kind of thing. It just needs to be good enough, solid, like I can settle for that. I don't need perfect.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, Will, especially in the indies, especially, leave the ego at the door. You know what I mean? It's easy, especially for us writers. And I mean, and you're lucky, man. You actually have an editor. I am my own editor. So it's so imagine trying to put yourself in check every 20 minutes when you're writing something. I'm like, I'm a brilliant, I'm a genius. I'm like, wait a minute, no, I'm not. No, this is terrible. Oh, wait a minute. No, let's erase all of this. Next panel. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm brilliant. No,
it can be painful. It can be like that. It's kind of like, to me, where I start to treat it like a video game. Like there's times like, cause I played a lot, right? And there's times where it's like you get real far ahead, you die, forgot to save, it's like, and now you got to go all the way back, and it's like, you know what, I'm gonna put this down for a minute, I'll get back to it later. Like where I forget how I was wrong here. So, but yeah, no, that's where like with writing, there's times where it's like I'll take a break and focus on the other ideas that I got. Exactly. Like the poster that I'm working on right now, that I've been posting updates on, is called Devil's Ridge. Okay. And I just like, as I like Westerns and stuff like that, I just didn't see many like horror Westerns out there. I was like, man, I like to see more horror Westerns out there. And so like with Devil's Ridge, I was like, well, let's do a cool thing. Like there was this movie, I think it was called Empire of the Sun or something like that, or Red Sun, something like that, actually, Red Sun, where it had Toshiro Mifune, and I think it was Charles Bronson in there. And there was like outlaw samurai matchup, and I was like, Dude, that'd be
That
cool.
does sound
Like,
pretty cool.
yeah, and it was pretty bland movie, I guess some people could say, but I liked it, for the crossover that it was. And I was like, well, let's make a cool idea like that, and then mix that with something like Pitch Black. Like Pitch Black,
I love that
like
movie.
a simple, let's just survive the night kind of story, like a survival story. I like survival stories.
Yeah.
I would read stories all the time from like that writer Louis L'Amour. Like,
yes,
he gets into
got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
He's
Yeah.
an interesting writer because it's like you'll be reading some of his short stories and it's like, whoa, you're getting into like some supernatural stuff. What are you doing? But it's gnarly because I was like, whoa, I didn't expect that. And so with that, I was like, let's make a mix of like, you got that outlaw, you got the samurai, they're all on a train or something, and then this stuff pops off, and it just gets all insane, and everyone's just trying to survive the night kind of thing.
Okay, that's dope. Yeah. Yo, I love the creative process. I love hearing about it. So I have a question now. Now, if you don't want to answer, that's cool. If it goes into spoiling story arcs, it's okay. Yeah. That's, I always put that asterisk mark. If it goes into spoiling story arcs, you ain't gotta answer. Okay.
Yeah, no.
So
I could drop some nuggets.
Okay. So as far as the abilities of the characters that you have in RWA are concerned, the first thing that came to my head, I forget the character's name, the female protagonist with the robot arm that she grows. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get into origins of how they got these abilities? Okay. Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. I'm walking on eggshells here.
No. Yeah.
And so if you can tell me, you don't need to tell me how they all get powers, whatever case may be, but
yeah.
But is this going to be more of a technological advancement type of experimentation, or is this something otherworldly?
I'd say both.
Okay.
Think Guyver.
Okay.
Biomechanical armor.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to spoil. Yeah. I want everybody to go and check it out. I want everybody to go see it because it's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you.
And the designs are amazing. Amazing.
Every progress I get from Frost, man, like I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like I'm almost like, dang, dude, calm down. Like you're doing like pretty crazy. Like I'm
like, hurting them. You're hurting them now.
Right. And what's cool is like where we've gotten to the point of our production process, is just like there's times where it's like I'm thinking to ask him something, right? Like what we did recently with the poster and stuff. I was thinking to ask him, but like he sent me the latest progress and here just did it. And I was like, whoa, nice. Get out of my brain now, but excellent. and so it's like it's great, like, over time, to see that, we can have like that kind of creative rapport, and able to pretty much get into each other's heads a little bit more better, like to where we know what we're going for or what we're trying to think there,
Exactly. When you and your creative team are like this,
it
all just comes together.
And that's the thing, because like my editors, like Esteban, Castillo, and Mick, like we're just friends. Like I know them from high school, and it just so happens like Esteban, he's a writer, and Mick, like he just he's got some know-how. His specialty to me has like been dialogue and certain other things, like with the panels, like something he might notice that maybe I didn't notice. So like off of them, like we definitely mitigate a lot of like if we had something going off on one issue, like we pretty much get it all cleared up by the time of phase 3. And so it's been great fun. I'd like having the process with each of them because you get different kinds of takes from it and stuff, and I'm like, ooh, that's actually a better idea than I would have thought. Like like total zinger. Like I love it.
Yeah, that's tremendous, and I love seeing that kind of collaborative work. Brings warmth to my cold heart. It's great, man. It's great. So one more question I had. So with RWA, where do you see this going? And what are you working on currently in regards to this comic line?
Well, with right now, what we're on is we're on phase 3 of issue 3, right? And ultimately, my main ultimate goal is to make this an animation.
Hey,
Like,
nice.
I don't want to move. I don't want a live action movie. Like, unless it's good, like, unless I'm like involved in it somehow, like as a executive producer or something like that. Short of that,
Or
y'all ain't
like a creative consultant or something.
something with like a position of sway. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm not like about to just sign off my, my baby to someone else. You know what I'm saying? And let them have their fun with it.
I agree.
Cowboy Bebop. I'm not gonna say much more on that one. Enough said.
Continue.
And so like, nah, like, because I feel too, like, animations, like, you tend to get like the best stuff out of it through animation anyways. Like, like, I've been pretty like, I didn't think I was going to be like into a lot of like the modern animes that are coming out. Turns out I like One Punch. Turns out My Hero Academia is not too bad. Like, it actually has some pretty solid takes on the superhero stuff. Even Attack on Titan, I kind of fell off on that one though lately.
I did too. Like, after the second season, I was pretty much done.
Yeah, it's weird. It's sometimes it's like I fall off of certain shows. It's not like I hate it or it's crap. It's just like I just tuned out. I guess I got disinterested.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's and I try to pick it up sometimes. Like if I maybe you pick it up and maybe you get into it again, but more often than not, I end up finding other shows, and so but yeah, like where we're at right now, trying to get the phase 3 of it done. Like once we're done with that, that's like the final phase, and we'll release issue 3. I think we're about maybe a few months or so away. Like I think we'll maybe get it done by then. Like because we're on the downhill slope, with the phase 3, and I mean, if whoever would be down to like help me get this thing animated, like I want to do a badass anime on it. I love like Bubblegum Crisis, if you ever seen that anime.
No, never heard of that one.
Dude, totally good series. It's all female led too. Okay. Like it's a female team of like cybernet. No, they're not cybernetic warriors. They wear armored suits. Okay. And stuff like that. And then they're like fighting. They're not aliens. They're like robots that are infected with some kind of like something. I forget.
Something. Infected with something.
Like nightmare creatures and stuff. Like that they got to take out and stuff. Really cool stuff, really cool action. And so like a lot of those cyberpunk influences like go into like RWA and stuff as well. Because like with where we're at in R2, it's a little more just straightforward action and stuff with some depth into it with the characters and stuff like that. Not too much world building in this arc. Because to me, I feel like Arc 1, there's your world building for the most part. Because in Arc 2, we're destroying things basically.
Okay. And I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Yeah. I follow.
Because like with Arc 1, like what you're talking about, like I definitely want to reserve that for the origin stuff. Go for like more of a slower burn, right? But I think like starting it off this way, it gets people in, and then enough to where when I go slow, they're still down to keep up. And
it's good.
Yeah,
it's very smart.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely a good idea on an Esteban to go from that format, like Arc 2, Arc 1, finish it with Arc 3, and so nothing to it but to do it.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys. I'm really excited to see where this stuff is really going. I really like your work. I really like all the stuff that you got going on. Where can folks find your work? How can they reach you, social media wise? How can folks get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, I have an Instagram page for it, for the Reactive Weaponized Armor. Just search it up, Reactive Weaponized Armor on Instagram. We're on Facebook as well. Got a Facebook page for that. I have a LinkedIn. If you want to find me on LinkedIn, I'm on there as Will G. You can look me up. I'll drop some links in there as well. But yeah, short of that, like, we post pretty regularly with updates like on what issue we're on, and if we're on posters or any kind of artwork like that, post it up there pretty regularly. And if y'all like it, check it out. Throw down on some issues. We're on Gumroad.com, like for digital versions of it. If you can't really get a hands on a physical copy and stuff. Like I have physical copies. It's pretty much just like hit me up and I'll get some out to you.
Hey,
like no problem.
Yeah. Now we're talking. But that's awesome. So I'm gonna take all those links. They're gonna be in the description section below. Everybody definitely hit up Will G and check up RWA. It's dope. It gets my big time approval. So definitely check that out. So big thanks to Will G over there. Once again, my friend, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show and talk about your great work and sharing your journey with everyone. This has been truly amazing. I'm so happy that you actually having the time to come.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, man. Definitely got to do this again at some point.
Absolutely. This would not be the last time we speak. No doubt about it. Well, anyway, everybody, that is Will G. Check out all his work. It will be in the description section below. I, of course, as you know, is Dre the Brute Daniels, and follow me on all my dope social media platforms that you'll see right under my face. They're not there right now, but I will put them there. At TheBrute00 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever else you want to find me, at TheBrute00. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the vid. Once again, I am Dre the Brute Daniels. That's Will G. This has been the Indie Corner, and I will catch you all next time. Also, if you want to support my channel, check out spinwiz.com or download the Spinwiz app and check out my comic series Trouble. It was written with a lot of love, and it was definitely my favorite comic series to write. I've also written it in English and in Spanish, so whatever floats your boat, I got it for you. Thanks again, and check it out.